basically like the entry guy from Mad Lions, who's actually the best rated player on the team. So the rest of them, I'm not really sure these are the next Danish talents that are going to be in the Astralis of the world.
Actually, one of their players was in Astralis talent, and they picked him up. Zyphon, youngest player of the tournament, 17 years old. So yeah, a lot of interesting storylines in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, and just to bring you in as well, Maniac here, you talked a lot about this kind of pedigree and our Astralis different at the majors. You've been a competitor, you've been boots on the ground. Right. I mean, are they going to be different at the majors? Because I'll be honest, they're still top 10 team, but they are not Astralis right now, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I think the immortal status of Astralis is long gone. They're not immortal at all. But the fact is, and I can tell you firsthand, when you plug your keyboard and mouse, you play at the major, you know you are in something very different. This is not like a normal game. I don't care about the other big events of the year. This is the major. We've been waiting 2 years for that. And it's going to make or break players. Some players will dissolve, disappear. Astralis, they know that. They've gone through that phase. They know how to have their best level when it matters the most. And this is a value, a currency that not a lot of teams have. So I agree with you. They're mortal, but we should not underestimate that.
There's one angle, though, you have to bring up, which no one said the name Device yet. They are literally missing the player who has the most MVP medals in the history of the game. And who's replacing him? Someone even less experienced, potentially, than the Copenhagen Flames guys. So they're throwing him in at the deep end.
You know who's replacing him? The kid who has Zonic prior to the RMR. If he needs to bring his own PC to the tournament.
That's so cute.
You've done him dirty.
That's how unfamiliar. Zonic said this in an interview. That's how unfamiliar he was with the environment, right? And I think the benefit of it, he was probably a couple of years ago watching Astralis lift all these trophies, and like now he's playing with them, right, for Copenhagen Flames. Now they have to play against them, and it's just gonna be flashbacks. You see Glaive get 2 kills through the smoke. Some are like, oh, he's doing it to us now. I've seen him do this a million times, and that's a real thing when you get to the major stage.
I got some good news for you, by the way, guys. We are going to be able to bring the veto up on screen and talk a little bit about that. We're going to get the maps early here. So it is going to be Overpass. You can see the pick and ban process. That's where we've arrived at.
Classic Danish map.
Yes. And one that, honestly, has been decent for both teams, but is a big favourite of Astralis.
I think we have to keep on with the lucky conversation on Overpass, because you think about Device, it was a map where he was a pure reference. We're talking positioning, we're talking decisions, knowing when to be aggressive, when to go back. I don't believe Lucky can do that right now. But I also don't think he has to. And this is where Astralis have to come in with a mindset, with an ID for Lucky. You're not going to put him in Device's shoes. They say that. With an ID for Lucky. Here to refill it. He's here to do its job, which isn't to be Device.
I think the eye test also, Lucky was, doing his job, right? He exceeded expectations, in my opinion. Tapered off a little bit when it came to those LAN playoff games, but he needs that experience. The thing here, most of the maps they played were like Nuke Inferno. They kind of got away with that. Now, he has to get out of his comfort zone so far on Overpass. We'll see how he performs. Obviously, there's a lot of talent and experience of that team to win, even if he has a bad game. But for Astralis to make a deep run, he needs to do his part, he needs to contribute, and this will be a good first test.
Well, I like the point you made in the green room, Duncan, where you were talking about how sometimes it can be cruel to throw a young guy in at the deep end. He doesn't have a lot of tournament experience. He's coming in, he's replacing one of the all-time greats. And if he has a bad start early at the tournament, you think that could snowball throughout, right?
Yeah, this is equivalent to if you just take some guy from the youth squad who's like 17 years old and you throw him straight in a Premier League game for like Chelsea or something. You aren't just expected to be good in Premier League. You're supposed to score goals. You're supposed to win the game. You're replacing the guy with all the MVP medals. So I think in that scenario, he's kind of in an unfair situation. Like basically he has to hit the ground running and be good at least. Maybe not be Device, but be good. Like he has to be competent. Otherwise, like this could potentially ruin your career. People will have this in their mind for the next few years, playing back when they think about your performance and who you are as a player.
Yeah, and just to talk a little bit about Flames, there are 2 teams in this, but Astralis are going to get all the attention. They've been on a tear against those, mid-tier oppositions, the ones you would sort of expect them to be. I think they've had a couple of high-profile scalps, but if they were to win here, that's a huge statement of intent, even if Astralis are betting in a new player and have all those problems.
Yeah, I think also talking about the format, best of ones to start until elimination or a playoff game, like, you get hot today early, you can be 2-0 after today. Right, upset best of ones. We've seen it happen at the RMR as well. A lot more upset potential when it's not a best of 3 series. So that makes it really interesting. If you get a little bit lucky, if one of your players is performing really well, gets a couple of good rounds, that's all it takes, and you can ride that momentum into the best of 3s.
Yeah. Any final thoughts just about the Danish derby? Because we have got some time here where we're going to be able to talk about the B-Stream game as well.
I've got something really quick I'd like to say, actually, just because it's the beginning of the major. Obviously, this year, sadly, there was a player who was a part of the Counter-Strike scene. He was called Michael Mainline Jaber, and he never actually played at a major, but he was a guy from the NA scene. He played for NME, I believe, and he was, gone but forgotten, basically. I thought we'd just reference him at the beginning of the major.
No, that's good, man. Been a sad lot of that recently, the last few years. And it's good that we remember our own. After all, this is a celebration of the game's history. So let's talk a little bit about the game that's going to be on the secondary stream as well. I know you have some thoughts about this, so I'm going to throw straight to you.
Yeah, I think obviously a very exciting game. It could go either way in a best of one. Spirit, they're the underdogs, so to speak. They really have not performed up to the level we've seen them early on in 2021. Their best work was done in the CIS RMR, right, which got them to the major. But there's talent on that team. CIS teams do really well at the major. I think it's because mentality-wise, it's like pressure doesn't really exist for them. Their game is not going to be different because the stage is bigger. And sure, FaZe has all the experience and has the talent, right? But it's a best of one. It's the first game of the major, and that's what gives them a big chance.
Yeah, you're talking about mentality, and that is my problem with Spirit. Over the last few months, I have been disappointed. I feel like every single time, it was the moment for Spirit to make it to the next level, to win that specific game, that specific series that's going to transcend whatever level you're on. They would drop the ball. They would always drop the freaking ball. They would disappoint me and they would disappoint themselves. So here at the major, I hope they forget about the pressure because I've seen them crumble multiple times.
They got real pressure now, haven't they? Because their stablemates in the Dota team just want TI. So, you got to sing for your supper a little bit. Let's talk about FaZe. You're talking about disappointments. I'm going to just call this. I think this version of FaZe, Carrigan's FaZe, with the addition of twists, it's been the biggest disappointment for me in the online era, frankly. I had them pegged as a world #1 team. I think they still have the roster to do it, all the pieces, and yet they've just had this lackadaisical approach to the games where they're just kind of like limping through, and they keep promising we'll do it at the big one. Well, it is the big one. And we'll do it at the big. They're all that impressive coming in.
Yeah, and people forget, as you say, like when they came into the team with Carrigan, they had twists, they had Cold Zera, then they had the side pick. Like that was supposed to be the team. That's supposed to be the team that goes to stop. So people forget now. The excuses started once Cold Zera left. Like, we have to use Olaf Meister, and is he standing in or is he going to be replaced? And give us more time, give us a year, like Carrigan was implying. Like I agree. If you play for a team like FaZe Clan, it is like playing for like Manchester City. Like you have to win now. Like we're not giving you 2 or 3 years to build this up. You have to be good right now. This is what you wanted.
Yeah, and that's like the built-up pressure almost that they themselves, okay, so online doesn't really matter for you as much at Cologne.
Yes.
You made a deep run in the playoffs and you were satisfied with that, with the top 4. Well, now really you have to make another deep run, otherwise what's the excuse? This is where your roster is supposed to elevate you with all the experience. If that doesn't happen, then, is there a roster change that needs to happen? What's the next step?
And you're talking about roster, you say, they have the talent to potentially be the best team in the world. I mean, Carrigan and Olaf Meister, I'm not going to talk about the experience because God knows they have experience, but their level, what they have been able to do in Counter-Strike online here, that is not enough. Sure. This is absolutely not enough for the top level. Any other player which hadn't that name would say, it's time to go. Yes. So now you're at the major, and I agree with Janko. They've always been saying, okay, listen, once we hit the ground running online, it's going to be all right. Prove it. Prove it today. Prove it tomorrow. Because otherwise the whole narrative just falls apart and we're looking at a rebuild.
And we're potentially looking at a last dance. I know that's a real overused term. I think we're potentially looking at a last dance scenario with Olaf Meister. I know he came back. He had that little spike in his level, but he's back to the level he was at prior to that spike now. And had a real rough last tournament out. And it's like, how long can this veteran keep playing at this level without people talking about the elephant in the room?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially because, again, he's another player that's supposed to come alive online and use the experience and win the clutches and do all the rest of it. It's like, the problem is, though, you look at the level online in a lot of games, this is when you know your career's in a bad spot, is if you have one good map, everyone goes, and of course the legend, he's back. It's like, they don't do that if you're still good. They do that basically when it's like, let's find some bright spot in this, because it's getting depressing talking about the guy if he's just choking away all the time.
Yeah, I'll tell you firsthand, you know, I always defended Olaf in a sense because I know what he can bring to your team. As that experienced anchor, T-side, you're not going to see it on the stat sheet, but sometimes applying pressure, taking map control, giving good information, also in terms of coming up with some cool strats, right? And that's all fine and great, but you still need to, you know, do the basics, especially on the CT side, for example, right? Like ability, and I didn't see him as such. In some games, obviously, during the last couple of months, I think it's fair to say he was that. But you have Olaf Meister for tournaments like this, for, you know, the scenery that you have right now, and it's up to him to show, okay, I still got it, and I deserve to be on this team.
So that's the game that's going to be going on the secondary stream. We're going to be talking mostly about the Astralis Copenhagen Flames game, which is going to start shortly. We are getting the players on the server at the moment. And while we do that, we're just going to throw you to a little content piece explaining the story of Copenhagen Flames.
Oh, I like the rendezvous. Name a better duo, that's me plus you.
All right, so Copenhagen Flames, you guys have made it. All right, so Copenhagen Flames, obviously it's the first major back after 2 years. LAN's now on the cards. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. Like we were at LAN 2 weeks ago, and being back already, it feels really amazing.
And in terms of nerves, right, because it is the major, is it different compared to when you're playing online?
I mean, it's always going to be different on LAN. There's going to be more nerves. People are going to be way more hyped, but I think there's not that much pressure now because we've already made it to the major and no one expected us to. So.
And in terms of you guys and your performance, right? You guys came out and you've been grinding up for a long time. Do you feel you've even reached your peak yet?
No, like we're still learning, like and still in practice. We see so many flaws that we can fix, and our game is not even close to being perfect.
So there's a lot more still to come. Now I'm going to line you guys up here for a second. So we're going to put you in a line, however you want to be with a lot of you. So we've got something to show you as a reaction to see what you guys think of this. It's going to be very interesting, I'm sure. All I'm getting is a bunch of laughing from you boys.
What do you mean? You just put down your pants like a fucking retard.
There we go. The amount of times I'm going to have to do this across all these teams.
Yeah. Are you going to do that show full time?
Yeah, across all the teams. It's going to be a good bit of fun. That's what you're there for, boy.
Bloody well, do you want to work
Oh, mate. What to even say? There'll be more of James Banks later. Hopefully not that much. That was a little bit too much information, but fair enough.
The things you have to do to work a major.
I know, man. It's tough, isn't it? It's tough at the top. So, look, obviously, you can see there they were talking about their underdog status and the things you have to go through when you make it to a major. James Banks is the least of your worries, I'd say, because obviously in this system with the best of ones, there really is no margin for error, and this is a team I don't really think they've been tested at the highest level yet.
No, they haven't been. And the problem is, right, the argument of not having pressure is true. And I'm sure in their shoes, they must feel great when now they embrace the moment they play good Counter-Strike. But if they go on a server and they start losing 7-8-0 and they feel powerless, I guarantee you they might just disappear from the server. Because I don't think they have that depth, that strength, you know, to come back into a game. They don't know what it is to get battered at the major. They don't know what it is after one game to just be looking left and right, seeing defeated teammates. That takes a lot. I agree with you, they haven't been tested quite yet, so it's great, no pressure. But where's your resilience? That's what you got to show us right now. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, and we also talked about the difference between LAN and online, right? And one of the main differences, the moves you make online, you don't have the cojones to do them on LAN. You're not as aggressive. The timing is, you're a little bit too late. You're worried. You don't want to make the move that's going to lose you the round. But the eye test told me differently at the last couple of tournaments. These teams that were really good online, they're doing the same stuff on LAN. They have not changed their style. Players individually are going for same plays, which is awesome because that way their level's not going to drop off. But now we're at the biggest stage of them all, right, where the pressure is at its highest. So there's still that small question mark. Can you do it in this sort of, or will you do it in this sort of environment? Yeah. If you will, we're going to get a lot of exciting games.
And of course, I mean, you know, more pressure to come because when that crowd's there, a hostile Swedish crowd, not going to want Danish glory on their soil. So it's only going to get progressively harder. These guys have to be dialed in. Duncan, you are the great dispeller of underdog stories, right? So probably fitting I come to you. Like, is there any way in the world that even in a best-of-one situation, these guys can upset the old dogs of Astralis?
I mean, the tough part for me is normally another thing you have as an advantage if you're the underdog is you can just be in all their demos. You're watching them play. No one's ever seen this lineup of Astralis play, especially not on LAN. Remember, they qualified with Bobski, RIP. See you, mate, you're gone. And then maybe one day. And then obviously, previously, they used to have Device. So actually, this is like a team where you can't necessarily even go and look at the demos. Like, how would you know where Glaive's going to be? Where's Lucky going to be? And that's so I feel as though in that scenario, normally I'd say it's great to get a map like Overpass, tactical map, go through all the demos. Don't know if that helps.
I'll tell you how it can happen. It can happen that we've had some time since the RMR and since the update with the grenades. And these underdog teams have to think in a way where we have to come up with some gimmicky stuff, right, to surprise the favorites, right, have the upper hand in,
you think
that
they try it?
And I want to see that from these teams, right? I want to see some weird stuff that doesn't really make sense, but it makes it even more difficult for the other team to predict.
You're not going to outbrain a team that's got Zonic to work for them, though,
I mean,
right?
do you even try it? Do you even try it? That's the thought I had when it comes to the grenade meta. I agree with you, but now you're a team. You're moving into the major, the most freaking important moment of the year. Are you going to try stuff that you haven't actually really tried in officials? You really want to risk it 14-14? Hey, let's do this strategy we've never tried in official, right? You talk about cojones. I don't know if teams will have the goals to actually go for it.
I think you have to, because that's playing to win and not playing not to lose. If you're Copenhagen Flames, you have to think like, if we try to play the fundamental Counter-Strike step by step, like, Astralis is just better at that. And they were better than a lot of, teams over the last couple of years. That was the way they beat teams, right? So I think you have to take risks from that sort of a position if you want to have a chance.
I'll give you another angle as well, which is the in-game leader of this team, Huxley. He knows nothing about majors. He's never been close to one. Yeah. Like, it's not even like they've got the veteran. At least Ensa's got like Snappy. They've got people who have some experience. This is a guy who's going to have to call on a tactical map against the greatest in-game leader of all time.
And that's where, having Pita can help them out. That was maybe even the change. Pita even said himself, I don't want to take too much credit for the success at the RMR. I didn't do too much. I just recently joined the team and so on and so on. But that's where it helps the experience, just in a way of how to prepare, how to make things seem as if it's just another game, right? That's what everyone uses, just treat it as another game. But you really have to do that from start to finish. You can't suddenly double your preparation and double the weight you put on your players' shoulders, because then for them it feels different, like we're doing things differently. How can I treat it as just another game?
Yeah, I guess it's about knowing your roster, knowing your lineup, because as I said, people will react differently. Some people will fuel off the adrenaline of thinking this is an incredible moment. Some people will crumble. So you have to know your crowd. You have to know what your team needs. Do they need to think it's a day in the office and we take it easy? Or do you need to make them realize that they can write their own freaking story right now? And this is for Peter to figure out. I just don't know if they have the shoulders to do it against Astralis.
Well, speaking about shoulders, I don't know how I'm going to do this segue.
All right, let's do it.
The greatest segue of all time coming in, boys. Speaking of shoulders, I know a guy who's got big shoulders. Banks.
And a big head on top of it?
Yeah, big head, big thighs, big shoulders.
Big
and
ass.
he's covered in tattoos. You saw him dropping his shorts weirdly earlier. We're going to give you the full story of that for additional context coming now. Probably should have done that first.
Filler.
I've got myself into another predicament. As you guys seem to already know, I like my tattoos. I've got everything all covered anyway. Counter-Strike's been a part of my life since late 2002. And well, I'm going to get the Counter-Strike logo tattooed. And these fine gentlemen from Da Vinci have decided here in Stockholm that they're going to be coming to do it. We're going to have some fun, talk about some history of Counter-Strike, and watch me get some legacy put on my legs. So let's get in there and see how it all goes down.
Going on?
Hello, James.
How are you, brother?
I'm fine, thank you. What about you? What are you doing?
I'm getting a new tattoo, mate, to represent Counter-Strike.
What it must be?
The Counter-Strike logo.
Oh my god.
You're gonna get you the Entropic logo?
I think if you win only.
If you win, all right, we got that on camera. If Craig wins the major, Entropic logo tattoo. Let's go. Who's your first game against?
We are playing against BIG.
Oh, okay. Have you practiced much against them?
We played sometimes last month.
Yeah.
No, it was pretty comfortable.
Well, easy for you?
I think it will be not easy, but we will do it, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good, man, good.
So, James.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for stopping by. I'll show you the picture when it's all finished.
Yeah, okay.
All right, and good luck for you for your game.
Yeah, thank you a lot.
Bob. Hello, Entropic team. What's going on? Make sure you're supporting and cheering these guys. As I just said, I've got them in the pick'ems to go through on the first stage. Let's see how far they can go. Crad's going to be a beast.
Yes.
See you later, boys.
See you.
So, like, I used to sell drugs, sadly, when I was like 9 till I was about 13. Because where I'm from in London originally is quite a bad area, and there's not much opportunity for us. And basically, I'm a diabetic, a type 1 diabetic. I became diabetic, and I couldn't go out as much. And my dad gave me a computer, and I found this game Counter-Strike. I just played so much of it. I was pretty good. I was young and I was pretty good. I just played, like, I didn't go to school much anyway, so I just played a lot of video games. And then I went to a tournament with some friends from school, and so I used to obviously hang out with all like the bad people, the gangsters, whatever else you want to call them. And then when I came back to school after learning how to deal with diabetes, I went back in and I went to the geeks and I was like, "Do you play this game?" And they thought, "Why the fuck is he talking to us about this game?" And I said, "Oh, I picked this game up when I was off school." I said, "Like, can you guys show me some more stuff about it?" And they said, like, I was really good at aiming because all I'd done was run around and just kill things. But they said I had no idea how to play with a team because I just played on my own. And so they taught me, we played together. I actually made new friends that way. And then when I was 13, we won our first event, but just like a local event. Nothing big like you have now. It was just like people from the same area as us. 2003. Yeah, so the very early days. And then basically one of these other teams that was like a lot bigger team, they said like, "Oh, you've got a lot of skill. Would you like to join our team?" And I was like, "Well, no, I don't want to leave my friends. Like, I'm with my school friends." And all my friends were like, "No, leave, like go," because they were like, "You're so much better than you actually could." And I didn't understand any of this at the time. I didn't know what esports was. I didn't understand you could make big money from it. And basically, we were a team from the UK, and that wasn't, their UK teams were never really that good, so we didn't make it that far. But it just got me into something that took me away from the gang life and selling drugs in the streets. And then as the esports and the whole industry grew, I was lucky enough to be able to stay involved. And I got the chance to start talking about the video games, like start commentating it. And now I do the interviewing and the hosting. And now my whole life has changed. Like, it's just crazy. Could never imagine it years ago. You really could. Like when I say like drug dealing, back then it was like I was 9 to about 12. But like the big drug dealers on the block, they just used to give us the drugs in a bag and tell us to take it from A to B because the police wouldn't stop kids. But obviously they didn't want to put their hands on it. It's just gonna be something special. I'm definitely never gonna forget it, am I?
So I did say you get to know more about banks. Listen, I think Counter-Strike
You will know
does
everything.
save people from the streets, so there you go.
There you go.
Certainly saved us. So we're going to talk more about some of the other games we've got coming up, because I won't lie to you guys, I never tell lies. We have got the classic day one delay. They're working on the servers. something to do with the tournament client. It's being updated right now. But that's fine because it gives us time to pick out another game. Listen, I'm just going to throw us straight to that one at the end. I just want to say, being here under all of these circumstances, crazy story coming in. That's going to be definitely one to watch, especially going up against Tai Lu.
Tai Lu is never an easy opponent. Right? Their level of Counter-Strike, disregarding all the rest, their level has remained very acceptable. The way they play Counter-Strike as a team. And we can all, talk about the circumstances, the context as a group. You see them on cam, they're in it together. They're really in it together against the whole world if they have to. And that is something Counter-Strike, they'll play their best. I thought they would crumble. I thought they'd disappear a while ago. They didn't. Not yet. Not ready right now.
I even think a factor that's underrated about them is true. Some of them don't have the most LAN experience of all the big top teams. They don't have too many that are super veterans. But I like the fact that they have like such an even firepower distribution across the team. And I think that takes some of the weight off people's shoulders. Like, I'll just be real. Cadian's never going to frag at that level he was fragging at the end of last year, early this year. Like, that was like as though he was like ZWoo numbers and he was the IGL. So you're not going to do all that on LAN. Well, but he doesn't have to in this team.
They have a secret weapon, guys. Not what you think I'm referring to.
What do you mean, Richard?
He's gone. That chapter's over.
Listen, I set him up. You knock him out the park, boys. No, I'm talking about Exist coming in as a coach. The undisputed Veto King is back, Duncan. No, listen, they haven't had a lot of time to work with him, but I'm intrigued by that move because for all we've criticised Richard throughout his playing career and how he might have made things difficult for himself at times as an IGL, I think his temperament and his mind for the game, I think he's going to make an exceptional coach, personally.
I'll also say as well, he does say that within the team, obviously he wasn't the only one who did the vetoes. Sometimes certain players just, I don't want to play this map even if we have a good win rate on it. So I will say it, for all the teams to go to, Heroic's a good one. They have a very well-rounded map pool. They veto and ban correctly. They don't just do permas at any point in time. So actually, this is a team where he's got a lot to play with.
And I think it was obvious from some of the interviews they did or the statements Cadian made that they just felt they needed some help, right? In terms of, it was a bit, it's too much, you have to scout your opponents, you have to refresh your own game, you have to work on your weaker maps, you have to do so many things for one guy to bear the weight of all of that, right? Some help really goes a long way, and you said it, that the 4 of their players have never played at a major, right? Cadian only played at a few, so Exist as someone who's been at a ton of them, I think will go a long way in helping them deal with this situation.
On another serious note, refresh, like what's this guy got to do to get a break? He's fragging out of his mind. There always seems to be a drama or something that's holding him back. He's been the breakout player like on 3 occasions now out of all that Danish talent, and something always seems to go wrong. I'm just for him, who had nothing to do with any of the nonsense, I want him to have a great major.
And he's evolved. I think like Refresh really made him to a new dimension in the do something great, but he would not be at the top of the stats. That'd be Stun, that'd be Cadian, you mentioned it. But now you look at the past 3 months, he is the highest rated player. He is the one making the difference. So we can talk about the context, but he actually pushed through, he powered through, and now he's at the helm for this heroic lineup, which again speaks to the depth of the roster.
Yeah, another player. Oh, do you
no, go on, make your final point.
I would just say the other guy, obviously, since we mentioned a whole bunch of the names, is watch out for Tessus on this team. Like, he has really nice aim. He's a guy who was on the rise, obviously, the last couple of years. Another player where being robbed of having Lalance, we don't really know how good they are yet. But if you were going to pick someone who, if they hit the ground running, could potentially be one of the bigger fraggers of the tournament, this is someone I'd keep your eye on.
Someone you can really lean on, you might say. So, good news, guys. It's it. We fixed the servers. It's time for the game. Let's get this major officially started, and that means we are going to be going to Astralis and Copenhagen Flames and making their casting debut at a major. It is, of course, Machine and Sponge. Take it away, guys.
Oh man, perfect. It wouldn't be a major without at least some initial fill. They got that out of the way nicely. Great to have Richard steering the ship, and yeah, they're right. I mean, the first casting debut for the major. It does feel a little bit Christmas Day vibes. I'm at least giddy.
Yeah, this morning I wasn't thinking it was real. So
did you get
my
much
coffee,
sleep?
looking at, I have 6 hours. That's enough, right? It's more than probably the players got, especially the guys on the side of Copenhagen Flames. Those youngsters, other than Roy, I can imagine the jitters, right? Everybody remembers their first big tournament, their first major. That's a whole different conversation right now.
Yeah, okay, but IEM4, like their whole basically come up, rise up, their undefeated spree, it must have done something for them, like proving to themselves, like, okay, we can kind of hang. There were doubts expressed on the desk about, what they're going to be capable of in terms of the competition, and it couldn't really be a much harder start.
Yeah, Astralis, the big brother of the region. I think the thing which is a positive for me is this is how far Counter-Strike has come in the 2 years that majors haven't been on everybody's screen. right? Within this online era, everybody's been able to evolve quite quickly. They've been able to get up to where Astralis was, right? Look, I'm not saying that on LAN it's going to be that same story. In front of the crowd, it's not going to be that same story. That's where they lack experience. But in terms of the minutiae, the details of Counter-Strike, that's where everybody's been working extremely hard.
Yeah, and I mean, some fun one for you if you're not, kind of aware of just how much our Counter-Strike history. We'll use this word a lot for the next 2 weeks, history, and there's a reason for it. It's one of the main unique selling points of this game is that there's just a chock-a-block full of it. Zyphon, the youngest player, I believe, in attendance at this major, 17 years of age, was 9 when Dupree, Zip, and Glaive were winning.
2013.
Were attending.
Yeah. Well, to pick up with Astralis here.
And about 16, 17 more years, Glaive's kid's going to be winning a major.
Yeah. Well, let's see if he can in-game lead. I think that's going to be a big question mark right there.
What did you make of that? I mean, we talked about it, right? IEM4, we were just wrapping up. We're like, what's going to happen with Astralis? You got your answer. Glaive in, Bubsky out, and we knew it would hurt. Like, we're all wincing when we're talking about it, but do you think it's the right call?
It has to be the right call, right? I feel horrible for Bubsky, but for the Astralis standpoint, this makes sense. How could you not have the 4, right? The 3 of which have won 4 majors. As the 4, they've won 3, right? So it makes sense. The Desk talked about it. Lucky being in Device's shoes, massive ones to fill. This is not going to be easy, right? By any means, for any of the teams coming in here today. Lack of lands, the lack of majors. There's a drought of Counter-Strike, really, in terms of this environment.
Yeah, okay. What did you make of the conversation Yanko and Maniac started on the desk? Because this was an interesting one to me in terms of trying to beat Astralis at their own game. If you literally come into this, literally, I'm going to be killing myself. If you literally come into this and just try and play the fundamentals, if you try and beat Astralis at their own game as a Copenhagen Flame, it's not going to go well.
No, I think they did pretty well in the veto to get it towards Ancient or Overpass. I thought rocky ground, especially if you look at the history for Astralis recently. But then it comes down to what they mentioned regarding
cheesy nades.
Well, the lineup here of Astralis, we haven't seen this before. So no matter what prep you could have done, right? I think that goes out the window. And I was having a little bit of look. Overpass is the map we're playing on here. Copenhagen Flames won 9 in a row. So actually, I think by getting there, that could work against them. They're on a 9 in a row winning streak. What are you going to change? And if you're Astralis,
so Sonic's just picking up his Overpass Copenhagen Flame folder and slamming it on the table.
So the prep right now, I think, is in the favor of Astralis, which is where the problems start to lie. Comfort, you can say for the Copenhagen Flames, but they're out of their element. They're up against Astralis. So it's really starting to weigh against them. And I think Roy here is the one that most people are familiar with because of the Mad Lions days, is the star of this team. So if he can have a good game and show the youngsters around him, hey, we can do this, we can play, hopefully that will lift them. But the cheese you're talking about with the nades, I agree with the sentiment that if you're Yanko, you may as well throw everything and the kitchen sink. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You're not expected to win this game here anyway. I would probably prefer to go the route of playing to win as opposed to going safe. You don't want to turtle up in an environment like this.
Especially in your opening game. You want to prove to yourselves that you're going to be playing your own game. Every player in the world.
It's the classic interview that we hate.
Yeah, but still, it does hold resonance here. I think that's exactly what they need to be doing. Your opening game, your first major, you want to be coming in as yourselves. If you start feeling cagey, if you're not playing the Counter-Strike you've just been playing and succeeding with to qualify, it's a lost cause.
Yeah, guys, we should be getting this one underway roughly two minutes or so. Now, we didn't just change the faces to give you something else to look at here. So hopefully we'll be ready and raring to go very shortly. So look, how far do we want to delve with this? The other stream game that we have going right now, FaZe versus Spirit, James and Dan in the room next door, they're doing that one. I think that's obviously the bigger matchup of the two for at least the namesake. Important game for Spirit to get out the gates hot, considering their disappointments, but same for FaZe.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the weird one, because so in my mind, I'm just got your a flavor of your opinions over the couple of years. Like you've
been marinating in my juices.
Because I know you had a lot of faith in Spirit. I remember you saw them all streaming and fragging.
That was out of the break.
This was straight out of the break, and you started kind of bigging them up as like potentially a new like CIS #2, right? I hope I'm not.
Because VP was like kind of starting to fall apart. Yeah.
But there hasn't been the results to actually reinforce that. But you can't have 3 bad events in a row.
Well,
right?
Maybe you can. I think Dexter's a revelation, but he needs to perform at that level. And then the players around him, I think then it looks to Mia. Right, and then you have to look towards Magix. But some of the issues that we've seen with this team in the past, and we got to identify, oh, we're underway. Let's stop.
So that's a good start, as this pistol is just winding on down. Nikodos is thrust into a clutch, and he's having a good shot into the head of Zipex. The clock, no kit present.
He's found it.
He has found the kit. And that smoke does have a sideline Glaive. Good challenge. He's such a threat. Nikodos looking to close the round. He's been toyed with by Glaive. That should be the end of that. And so, a hard-fought pistol, no less. And Nikodos looking to finish with pizzazz. Can't quite. We're getting things resolved, and we are now on your screens and in your ears. So that's a good start, as this pistol is just winding on down. Nikodos is thrust into a clutch, and he's having a good shot into the head of Zipex. There's surely no more. Time continues to tick.
No kit here.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue. He has already sussed out their location. They're dropping smoke to make things awkward, and he's continuing to hit shots. Glaive can surely play the clock. No kit present.
He's found it.
He has found the kit. And that smoke does have a sideline Glaive. Good challenge. He's such a threat. Nikodos looking to close the round. He's been toyed with by Glaive. That should be the end of that. And so, a hard-fought pistol, no less. And Nikodos looking to finish with pizzazz. Can't quite put it across the line. And Glaive, quite the easy debut back in the Astralis jersey.
Yeah, right there. Probably would have enjoyed the armor and that kit going forward, but got hungry for the kills right there. And that's the details that I think we're going to be seeing the difference of as we move to these higher pressure scenarios. Online, you know, you're in your own bedroom, maybe you're in that boot camp environment. You're going to make the right decision more often than not. Here on land, it's all coming down to those little details, but they do get a decent looking force buy out here, Copenhagen Flames. Couple Deagles, couple CZ75s, and a Famis in the hands of Nikodos here. Make sure you keep note of those smokes. Astralis. They're rocking pretty standard default spread here. Two towards the back. Speculative shots through the smoke. This is just sit back, wait, see if the CTs want to go for any aggressive maneuvers.
Oh, Roy. A lot of information on that, but that's his demise baited in nicely. Nikodos converts as the rifle now loose, and he's going for an Aggie one, pushing straight up for that business, rotating back through this playground. Once he confirms it's clear, which it looks like, he will be able to confirm it, and now he's locked them in. Oh, spotted out. Holding the back line, but a well-tamed spray, and now into T-spawn. Nikodos with high impact back-to-back rounds here. He's actually in pursuit of the AK. He could make life very difficult.
He's not expecting Debris.
No, the knife out. That's the end of him, and all that pressure. Release.
Okay, well, Debris got the AK. Plenty of time for this still. 45 seconds remaining. 3v3. Kit going forward and, well, back towards the B bomb site. So leaving that pressure looks like it enough. Glaive's going to smoke off towards heaven. They just have to deal with Yabi now, and his Deagle shots have been noted. They're going to commit to the site here. There's still time if they want to head back up connector towards this A bomb site.
Oh, he's going to be caught out here. Glaive ready for it. Oh, Hooksy quick to react and does tuck in. So now, with 20 seconds left, it's getting really awkward for the boys of Astralis. They're in the right place. Armor present. Deagles as well. Going to not be aiming for those body shots anymore. It has to be some spicy headshots out of these young gamers. And, well, 9, 8. It starts to look good for the Flames. Lucky does bail them out of trouble. The headshots aren't there. And just getting that bomb down. 1v3, surely no. Oh, but he has brought him very low. Lucky down to a scrap of health. The high angle from Debris, not expected. Okay, well, it hasn't been a particularly frictionless first two rounds.
No, one-on-one to close out that pistol round, and now one-on-two situation. I think right there, very, very good to see Lucky hitting impact shots like that. Right, that's 3 kills for him now, but to hit shots when we're down to those final 10-15 seconds, the pressure's on. Good stuff here. That's one of the question marks around Astralis. How is Lucky going to perform with these 4 absolute legends around them? Will have to be an eco now coming out from the Flames here. There's going to be a couple of HEs invested in, 3 in total, a P250. This should be Astralis wrapping up the 3-0. Comes the nades, and they've seen enough. Defensive molly, they're back on off. This one should be off. Someone's going to do it.
He's not scared of that Molotov. He's having none of that. And of course, you leave the MAC-10 just to corral and perhaps even farm up a little bit of extra juice. Magisk has been given the gift of that with his extra health. And around the world, they will maneuver.
Yeah, I thought, looking at the video, I was like, okay, so Ancient and Overpass as the final 2 maps here. Ancient wouldn't be a bad place to take it. Overpass is a map with Astralis in the last But it all starts now, right? That 9-in-a-row map streak that they've been able to accrue hasn't been against the best teams in the world. And Astralis still fall into that category, regardless of their woes they've been having of recent times.
Yeah, I mean, I was singing their praises of the fact that they can just keep bloody changing a player, make it 2, removing one of the star AWPers of the entire scene, and still functioning at a high top 10 team level.
Got both big greens out here, Nikodos and Lucky, with their primary
He's
weapons
going
equipped on this.
straight for the party peak, or perhaps just a posture. He'll throw the nade, he'll throw the smoke, and that's a good one. Straight onto the noggin of Lucky. Good start, and that will slow them down. That will humble them. The potential for long aggression, party, it is all a concern. Speaking of aggression, I don't know if Dupree's considering anything further. He's just staring at that short smoke for now.
That's the pip here. Looks like we're going to collapse down onto the sewer position from Connector and the short push. Real aggressive.
Oh my goodness, yeah, they found the first. Not quite the second. Yabi with the trade does seize the advantage. And just like that, yeah, they're very scattered. Lucky was Playground, Magic still in that underpass, looking to claw back that control, and they've already evaporated. They're gone. Tucked into the site, and a man advantage. Looking great for the first gun round here.
Back to B. More nades towards this monster position. Hooksy picking off the back. No info spotted so far. It's up through the sandbag position for Magisk here. 42 seconds remaining. Still plenty of time. Nice nade. Flash as well, but the follow-through's not there. Zip goes down. Hooksy looking good for a second. It's just one man remaining. Lucky with that AWP. Hiding outside monster. Takes a shot. And I don't know what happened, guys. I
can't see the
I've
screen.
lost video, so...
Hold on.
We're operating here. Whew. The best we can right now. Lucky would do very well to save right here. And it looks like he's going to get away with it. Taking on back towards T-spawn.
Yeah, I'll let you sort that
I'll
one out.
sort that out. You take over the casting.
Let's get this one started. That's a lovely gun round, though. It really is. And that's exactly what they wanted to do, especially after the couple of oopsies in their initial conversions. And it looks like we've got a mini-map. That is going to make things increasingly clear. Nikodos actually proper, despite his impact on the pistol and the force with the FAMAS. So going to get to see him on his primary weapon once again. Lucky is well equipped.
Еще погоди, я прибавлю, а то за стрим ничего не слышу. Короче, пока Astralis стрельно выигрывает.
For Roy. He's got a very supported cast here, so quite an aggressive smoke. Uxie responsible for Magisk's advance. He will be threatened from behind as well. Uxie should have a shot here. Good one. Magisk has spotted him out. Good advantage now, even with the Galil. He will take that head and no trade. Nikodos, are you really going to commit? Throw your body into the depths of the underpass. It would put him into jeopardy. Siphon has held his nerve. That was a 3-man push on short, and they do all collapse at the hands of the Flames. Just 2 now, and looking set to break. Astralis setting them back to just... Now, the only way they get back into this round is a slip-up. Lucky's hoping for it, staring at it. Magisk trying to take a gap, and it's unlikely there will be one with such a big man advantage. Roy, though, is being walked on here. He didn't fully take it clear, and down goes Roy. Problems. Nikodos is called upon. Lucky's on his way as well. They will be able to get some util down. What do you reckon? The bomb could be going down here, Chad.
Yeah, plan to be nice considering the situation right now. Magisk is the point man here.
He's just scooped up another molly as well. They've got a perfect util set. Bank is locked. Bomb is down. A 2v4 suddenly feeling threatened. Maybe not anymore. Yabi, that's a great shot.
Пока Astralis 3-2 идут.
His second. He is already
Comp is
responsible.
low here.
Yeah, and exactly. Lucky. He has the perfect situation for a 1 versus 3 here. The new addition. 18 years of age and representing the best team in his country. He'll give it a go.
Сейчас
The
включился
chance
по
for
полной.
Nikodos does not let those slip.
7 kills right now for Nikodos. This is really good, right? You take a little bit of a look at the stats here for Copenhagen Flames. You've got Roy top of the charts here for Overpass, and then Nikodos coming in second place for the team as far as rating goes, and that's very important, right? I think having your AWPer as one of your highest rated players on a map like Overpass, especially on
Что? Что, ты на ютубе будешь стримить? На ютубе будешь стримить? Популярные бабосики. Я знаю. Ну чего долго? Ранбустеры. Ранбустеры.
Having to forego the AK for utility this time round. Bit of a default spread again, so through the connector, 3 working over towards playground and just that one man, Zipnets. He's been doing it for years, probably be doing it for a couple years more. Just have to push back this early threat. Nikodos has now been forced back towards Barfly. Here, no man's land, and Glaive will chop off his head. That's a great opener.
Yeah, completely caught in transition. I just don't think, with Nikodos finding nothing on his initial peak, suspected it was a little more clear than it was. Now, Runboo's Nikodos is pre-aiming for that wide swing, and just averts his gaze, they'll close gap. Will surely purchase this. His gaze, they'll close gap. Ready to clear. Multiple targets. The threat's too much. His back is turned, and only the one for him. Does manage to catch Lucky. It is something. The man advantage comfortably in Astralis' court, and with 50 seconds, they're in absolutely no rush. That's a big one from Dupree. Hooksy on a jiggle. And slapped, punished for it.
There's those secondary AWPing duties showing off, right? When the team was in limbo, who was going to AWP? Dupree. Duty showing off, right? When the team was in limbo, who was going to AWP? Dupree. Duty showing off, right? When the team was in limbo, who was going to AWP? Dupree. Duty showing off, right? Perched towards A and actually pulling Xiphon on over, so the gamble stacking this A bomb site. Dupree's walked on in, it's an open door. Yabi's not looking. Xiphon, I don't think he's going to be expecting him already past, and he isn't. Dupree. That's the round. Beautiful stuff there, Astralis. Get their 4th off the back of a Dupree 4K.
Beautiful stuff, and doing it with a variety of different weapons as well.
Now, if we take a quick look at the finances left-hand side of your screen here for Copenhagen Flames, if they were able to save those rifles, right, that gamble stack, if they go B, that's fine, we'll save those guns, we'll get ourselves out with a pretty full buy in the next round to play. Well, you can see how ugly it looks here. 2 rifles, not too shabby, but the pistols alongside and the lack of utility, no defuse kit either. Things are not going to be easy right now for Copenhagen Flames. If they lose this one, Astralis will be able to get themselves up to 6 rounds easy as you like.
Not riding on this, Roy. Equipped with one of the biggest guns, and he did just have a bit of an awkward one. Falling down in the round 7. Doesn't seem to have pushed him away from the aggressive maneuver. And it's
They want to be giving him an AK early here.
certainly a possibility. I imagine Lucky's very, very well restrained. Has his limits, lingering in an off angle for any aggressive long maneuvers, and Astralis just biding their time, trying to catch any of this early CT aggression. And here it comes. Patience, about to be rewarded. How deep is your clear? It's decent. And now an AK falls into enemy hands if they want to.
That's going to force them towards B though, surely. Or maybe not. This is a gap. This is a huge gap right now for Magis. He's been able to pip this.
Yeah, but Roy's getting info, and surely that will get his fackles up. He knows something's afoot, something fishy. Down goes Hooksy elsewhere, but now he's got the strike. Roy, big impact now. And what do Astralis do? Surely you...
It has to be B. They have to go B. You can't really go towards A. Even though Magisk had that gap, he did damage onto Yabi on the site. They know he's in no man's land right now. They have to go towards this B site, and Roy's still pushing.
Still a smoke on him. If he could get back to B. Still a smoke on him. If he could get back to B. Still a smoke on him. If he could get back to B.
Roy again.
Still a smoke. Roy. He said he wanted a high impact round, but doesn't get more high impact than that, and a great dig out of Nikodos for good measure. A crucial round for the boys, and Copenhagen Flames surely have this one on lock. It's 2 HP. Zip, he is the clutch minister. I feel like this is just a little too much to ask of the man. And Roy with 4 responds to Dupree's quad kill with one of his own and puts the 4th round on the board for the Flames.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there. Just really jarring. Like, it looked for a moment that Astralis had a bit of a timing there, but as soon as that pressure was through, Roy continuing to force the issue towards T-Spawn. He just put Astralis in a rough spot. Now they get a plant again, and they can continue here to be threatening. So neither team broken, right? Both willing to contest. And that's good to see the fight, right? Some teams, they might come in, they might play too conservative. They won't take the risks with the rifles and the pistols, but a risk taken and Flames convert, keeping us level here. A timeout called, and the first for Astralis. Taking a look at the scores, Dupree up to 11 kills. We've got 6 for Glaive, 5 for Lucky per round.
Can you put your
Magisk and, well, Zip, he's got 2, but anchoring that B-bomb side all the time. What's going to be the response here? They definitely can afford. They won't have the AWP out for Lucky by any means. So maybe something a little bit quicker, right? If you have a set piece right now, something that you want to take some space.
Oh, is that back-to-back timeouts, or is that a response? Was it T timeout first?
Yeah, so I've been digging through the rulebook, and if I read it correctly, I know in other events you're allowed to expend timeout after timeout. I believe, if I was reading correctly, that in the rulebook for this major, you're only allowed to use 1 timeout per round.
But your opponent can call one in response. Okay.
So this is Copenhagen Flames maybe trying to take a bit of momentum away from Astralis' timeout. They just finished your 30 seconds. All right, boys, let's get it. Now you get another 30 seconds to question whether that call was the right one or not. So both teams making some adjustments here.
Really enjoyed talking to the boys of Copenhagen Flames, because you can just see on their face when they're
the bait here, right? So Hooksy is also able to combo in with Roy. He's the link man over to help Nikodos towards long as well, but their rotation over towards that B bomb site is going to be pretty far away. Dupree doesn't know what's lying on the other side here.
Oh, Hooksy could get caught in the timing here. It's all about Dupree's intuition as to when to strike. Elsewhere, Zipex has posted, I believe it's his 3rd. Roy got his head on a swivel, and rightfully so. Glaive, passive in nature. I mean, Roy was great on his party clear. There's no...
This would be something, though, wouldn't it?
This would be something else.
Oh,
okay, and he actually gets it. I don't think Glaive could believe he came around the corner looking at him. Like, what?
Well, all right, we're back in a 4v4. All right, Roy. 35 seconds on the clock now. This one's starting to heat up, and the rotation to B, they've hedged their bets towards the B bomb site right now. So I feel like Astralis will go A. Like, unless Lucky runs down connector now, it is going to be an A finish.
It's a big-ass fake. It's a
big It is going to be an A finish.
It's a big-ass fake. Roy has got so much on his plate here. Oh, and that's Dupree gone. Huge amount of information, and they've got 15 seconds to try and break the site. It gets super awkward for Astralis now, and another chance for Roy. The supportive utils here, out of the players, and another one from Roy. Bomb loose. Surely Astralis can't dig themselves out of this. Zip with a double, Magisk another, and just in the nick of time, they turn it on its head again.
Because you're really going to have a look in for this, mate. I know it should have been your round. But are you going to give up the AWP here on the clutch? It looks like he wants to get stuck in.
I mean, Zip just pulled 2 frags out of his bottom. Let's see if Nikodos can recover. He has been the shining light. Now, I can't believe they've gone for an Optimus plan.
He could have.
He could have.
Sit this.
Double long hold. He already strikes for the first. He won't expect a second, will he? Time-sensitive mission here. Doesn't catch a glimpse of him either. Now just in a state of complete panic. Nah, Magisk seals the deal for Astralis, and what a conversion between the two of them. That was all 5 from Zipex and Magisk, and they came within the closing 5 seconds. I mean, they probably had 0.5 on getting that bomb down.
Yeah, bodyguarding well right there. That's when the pressure moments are on, right? If you're going to play this late round Counter-Strike, you can't get flustered. You can't fluff your lines. You need to hit the shots, and well, Zip with some massive impact right there. So back and forth we go again, but you see who comes out on the receiving end of this one. A timeout again for Copenhagen Flames. And, well, at the high end here, we're talking 4.3 on the AWPer, and on the low end, 1.5 for Yabi here. So, not really enough for Copenhagen Flames to warrant a buy. Big discussion to be had here. Do we get a rifle out in the hands of Nikodos? He get an M4, get some armor, a little bit of util. The rest can buy into pistols. We've already seen them give it a crack on the second round of play. He had the FAMAS, the rest all board in, and here it is again. So, Hooksy and the boys here.
Okay, now I'm going to be intrigued to see as to how far these Deagles go and how many we see. A lot of people starting to pull out the CZ, the 5.7. In fact, there you go. Nice prime example of the eclectic mix of sidearms you can treat yourself to now.
Valve smiling nicely.
Yeah. Doesn't get more diverse than the left side of your screen, or even the right. Not too bad either. Mac 10, Galil, keeping it interesting, keeping it diverse.
This is the same setup they just ran, or at least very similar, right? Hooksy this time has taken the scout in lieu of the AWP towards long.
Nikodos' barrel may be spotted, and actually no, they've opted for the banana side, and so Nikodos just a straight head-to-head duel. There's no util coming. Barrel and an easy conversion. Both of them! Nikodos has come alive here on LAN, and down goes the AWP, but this one has collapsed for Astralis, and again the Flames are threatening, confirming Nikodos' third frag. He will be caught out in his green for that AWP, but the round is surely his. Tagged Zipex. An AWP shot to the leg leaves him limping, and only 27 points of health. It shouldn't be a matter of time. There it is. I say AWP, it was a scout. The upgrade, though, is just in front. Nice. And what a recovery that is from Copenhagen Flames.
This is back and forth, and this is great. They continue to put up fights when the chips are down, right? Astralis, normally, if they put you in this position, they convert. Then you're going to have to go down to an eco. They can have a streak of rounds here. But Astralis are being forced into awkward situations. And again, you can see what that's done to their finances this time. We're just trading places. A timeout. We've had 3 rounds in a row now. We had one round where both teams took a timeout. Copenhagen Flames just took one in the following, and now Astralis in the next. So you can see they're under the pump because the money at this point is seesawing back and forth. So for Astralis, they can't have anything that resembles the type of buy that Flames just did, right? They could maybe, just maybe go for pistols across the board with some light util and pull out one of those pocket strats as an execute that I'm talking about. That looks like the call. Glaive into a Tech 9, some util behind it. Dupree now with Kevlar, a flash. I think if they just were to search, right, a standard call that can happen on some of these forced by rounds when you have Deagles is let's just do a default spread and search and see what comes our way. I think if they do something like that, especially with Tech 9s, they might just get run over here because these setups from Copenhagen Flames have been looking very tidy, very well thought out. I think Astralis need to throw something their way to unravel this CT setup, at least, you know, pacey, because you can see in the way that Roy was clearing, especially in that round that Magisk and Zipex won where they probably shouldn't have, he's very aware of all these late lurks.
Yeah, what a start to the series. I can call it a series, even if it is best of one. For Nikodos individually, and Roy is the second name at the tip of my tongue. Saved now by Hooksy on the flank. Lucky's gone, and the rest of Astralis won't get anything done. Just Tech 9s and Armor, they wanted to battle for this economic control, but it's actually resulted in a Flame 6th. Glaive, a scrap of HP. He'd love a plant, he'd obviously love a round. It's not looking all the likely, even if FAMAS has found its way into his grasp.
This is where Copenhagen Flames can start to pull away, right? Keep this one clean. You've already got yourself off to a great start. One man going down, fine, but make sure there's no more casualties. Make sure Zip and Glaive are unable to get a plant here. Force them to concede, have to take that eco. At that point, you're just looking at a scoreline of 7-5. Maybe the grasp of 10 is in their midst, but good stuff here. And yeah, some individuals stepping up. Like, it's really good to see that they're not shying away from the moment. We all know today they're not in that studio setup. This is comfort for Flames. And Yanko was talking about if somebody can catch fire, right? If one of these teams is able to get off to a hot start, they play their second best of one today. You could be sitting 2-0 or 0-2 by the end of today.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, in terms of the way you come into the first day of the major has such huge ramifications. And I truly believe that Copenhagen Flames, if they've just been able to press pause on the LAN vibe they had at IEM Fall and just press play as they step into the first day here at the PGL Major, that's brilliant. Like, that is exactly what it looks like right now. Like, Nikodos is doing exactly what he just did. Roy, you talked about his individual performances, right? I remember there was that crazy one where he was like 27, pulling them desperately into the final round of play. He's doing it again. 14 and 13 respectively. They are some of the only players in the server who have managed to break the double digits. Dupree pulling Astralis forward with 11 of his own.
I'm curious to see now what Astralis want to do with Lucky, right? Because in a couple of these rifle rounds, due to the financial nature of this, they haven't heavily invested in getting him the AWP, right? That's not the core of the game plan so far. So keep our eyes on if there is a shift, if they prioritize getting him that AWP. Right now, it will just be that economical round and a full eco. So these are the scenarios we were talking about, right? With the T side, they're going to take things very, very slow. They're going to bait out all of that CT utility, force Copenhagen Flames to have to reinvest, or maybe just pop them from this sandbag position. Zypher grabs one, and look at all that damage. We don't get many of these anymore. The given rounds.
No, certainly. I mean, just looking at your health, like you're sitting there, Glocks, no armor, 10 HP, you've got a full 70 seconds of pain ahead of you. You just have to sit there and talk it out.
Now, this is one of the situations, right? It very rarely comes to fruition, but this is one of the situations where if they do take too long, and they're too far away from the site before they actually start pushing in to die. They have to die. They want to make sure they get the loss bonus. I know it sounds a bit counterintuitive, but in that scenario, if you can turtle up there and force them to have to run all the way, they don't get any loss bonus, right? So let's see. Will they even get that opportunity here, Copenhagen Flames?
Glaive's a wise boy. He's not going to let that happen to his troops.
Yeah, look, at this point, with 40 seconds left and heading back down connected towards the B-bomb side, I think all three of them are going to be scooped up pretty quickly here. Xiphon over towards barrels. Ready and raring to go.
Oh, a little sketchy, but they're so very ready. And we will see the 7th for the Flames. In fact, doing it spotlessly, no threat out of Astralis on the eco. Does mean that they'll probably have nurtured the bank nicely for the CTs to get back in underway. It looks like our observer team as well, getting themselves back into their seats and getting everything sorted out.
Cam parts,
yes,
flying
baby,
around
yes.
the place.
We're just putting it back together again.
Yeah, these things happen.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here we go. The rifles are back out, and not enough money for the AWP here for Lucky. Even light on some nades for the likes of Dupree, Zip, and just the extinguish from Glaive. Tell a very big story that there is presence over towards A. It looks like a ruse here as it's a fake. They're heading towards B quite swiftly.
Roy will know. He'll have that info on his next jiggle. He's pushed party aggressively. He will be able to confirm ahead of the smoke that there is nothing to be concerned about. And so the CT's already batten down the hatches, a three-man setup. Dupree's the first contact. They flash in, and he's got one. Magisk, however, pairs them up nicely. Yabi down in connector. Xiphon down on B. A nade in response, but they're coming. They're coming for your site, and Hooksy, in-game leader extraordinaire, has got a little too much on his plate. Caught with the pin pull. That's Magisk again with impact for Astralis. Him and Zip pulling their 5th round out of their hat, and now we see the 6th secured in a similar fashion.
Yeah, this one's done. Has to be the save call right now for Copenhagen Flames. But that right there, they have been noting that this A defense has been quite active, or it's even been multiple players more than you'd see, right? Traditionally, 2 players over towards A. Sometimes in current Counter-Strike, teams will just play 1 early and stack 4B because of how susceptible that is to rushes. Here they've extinguished that molly. As I mentioned, it gives the feel that there is pressure towards that A site and being able to pounce over towards that B bomb site in time. But it has to be said, Magisk with some great shots right there.
Chad?
Yes?
Have you ever done a graffiti?
Ever done a graffiti?
Done a graffiti. I'm not talking about your name in the game, because I have that on my Glock. But I'm talking like real life, maybe with permission.
Oh, no.
A little
no,
like
I was a goody two-shoes.
Always?
Always.
And have you held a can of spray paint in your hand?
Yes.
Okay. Did you feel the power? Did you feel...
No, I think I was painting some props for my mum, so I didn't feel very powerful.
Nice, though.
Yeah.
Was it a sword or something?
No, I don't. We were doing some,
arts and crafts.
Steps or something, you know.
Some cut and stick, as we used to call it.
To tap dance on, I believe.
Oh, lovely. Well, the full 5 AKs are back in play, and this one, I mean, how lovely is this when you have not only the old Danish kings on the block, you've got the new kids pushing them to their limits here in the opening game of the Major. You've got 2 streams running simultaneously. Remind you, Spirit and FaZe are duking it out as well. You can catch that over on the secondary stream with James Bardolph and DDK.
Yeah, so more of this A aggression, right? And this is one of the early tells. So sure, they have the info again, but the rotation right now to help out this B defense is miles away. It has to be on Xiphon, it has to be on the likes of Hooksy. And Yabi here. They need to be able to contribute on this B bomb site and lock them down.
Oh, it's the perfect spot. Fully flashed. Yabi takes
Good
one
trades.
out of jail. Yeah, it's not too shabby. Xiphon, however, eliminated. They know it's only Hooksy on the site traditionally, and he's got a lot to do. Down goes Glaive. A big contribution now, buying time for the rotate. They're coming in from short side, and Astralis need to find his head now. Close, 2v2. Managing the M4A1S is a bit too much to ask, but low, and the Deagle. That's a sidearmer perfectly suited to the task. 1 to the center of mass could end it for Zip, and damn! Nikodos with the drive-by takes off his head.
I love that. I love that. You're going up against Zipex, right? Who in clutch situations gets given all the respect in the world. He's able to play his own game. You can see what he's thinking there. This guy's stuck at short. He's going to give me the respect. I'm going to go towards the A bomb site.
Yeah.
This kid, not afraid of anything, does not want to allow Zipex to play with him. Steps on out, headshot through the bloody box, and 8 rounds now for Copenhagen Flames. They've won the half here.
Brilliant stuff, yeah. And Nikodos, he's got, like, I want to say this, and I mean this in the best way possible, he's got the ego he needs to play his role.
Yes.
He has. He believes in himself. Careful now. Glaive on an orb.
I guess Lucky doesn't have the ego he needs to play his role, because right now, doesn't have the orb,
What?
but Dupree up through the connector. Misses the freebie! Converts. Oh my
goodness.
god.
That would be a confidence. What's the opposite of a confidence booster? A confidence loser, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the best I can do.
Okay, well, 4 on 5. Number advantage for Astralis here, but they have to convert this one.
Yeah, no, it should be good in the hood now. I mean, admittedly, there's still a weapon disadvantage. And Yabi on that Org is a threat if they do try to go anything funny monster late.
Is Glaive going to give the orb to Lucky? What's going on here?
Let them do their thing. And we'll do ours as soon as we have our visual back. I apologize if we do randomly stop talking. Sometimes just genuinely unable to see the game. Oh, that's a big find. A dink exchange, but Magisk making a strong case for the Tech-9's return. Knocks the head off of a rifler there. And there's more to come. Hooksy actually re-aggressing, and he's punished Magisk for that. They're trying to continue to keep this pressure on, not let Astralis set up for the full commit. This is the final round of the half.
And no halftime break.
And no halftime break.
So don't go anywhere.
Don't think you can just pop to the loo. You've got
Yabby, this is a freebie.
An aggressive flank, and he's pulled it off. First Hooksy, now Yabby, and Astralis kept guessing. 20 seconds now. What do they do? It has to be. Has to be. Glaive is making as much noise as he can, toilets. Zyphon's dealt with this, and it is surely going to fall apart. We're into the site. A one-on-one, a crucial one, and there it is. That should be the round. There's no time for this. Glaive will give it his best shot. Some sort of double 360 no-scope through 7 walls. I think we've got ourselves an answer as to the half.
Okay, you can see they're just how chill they are. They know they've won that one. 9-6 the score reads here. And a great half from Copenhagen Flames. They've definitely played some aggressive Counter-Strike, right? They've been happy to take these fights. They've been setting the tone and the pace. They forced Astralis into a lot of awkward situations. And when Astralis were looking like they were getting on top of the youngsters, they came back with 4 spies. They had some pistols. They had 1 rifle. And they kept those rounds exciting. You can see here on your screens, 5 out of the last 6 rounds. That is some great momentum for that of Copenhagen Flames to be taking here into this second half. And when we get it straight back underway, there's no 2-minute breather right here, right now. The action doesn't stop.
Yeah, but this is the re-aggress. You know, you're just seeing Hooksy not only go to all the way to toilets to re-aggress on the loss of the first, but then we also saw Yabby pushing into that underpass, just never letting Astralis breathe. And that has been a recurring theme, I'd say, of our first half. But we have swapped sides. Astralis on the defense. I'm intrigued to know how this pistol goes. Copenhagen Flames will be within touching distance should they convert.
5 sets of Kevlar here from Astralis, so nothing to work with. And, well, that's something to work with. Glaive, lovely shot into Zyphon. This will force the hand. It has to be the B.
Yeah, and they're actually opting for short. They'll play retake. I say that as, yeah, lucky. Oh, actually, Zipex is now surely going to go down. They both lined up for the Glocks. It's an easy collection.
There's no kit for the retake.
B-site's open for business, and okay, Hooksy's knocked another for 6. Nothing left other than Dupree and Glaive charging in from the monster now. They will have been heard. Some good shots, perhaps a little too much to ask. Glaive struggles, and that is a very convincing pistol.
They lost the opening kill, and then everybody else survives. They get into the bomb site for free. They set up a fantastic looking post plant. They were even boosting towards heaven. They had everything sorted right there, Copenhagen Flames. The team right now must be feeling themselves because this is fantastic what they're doing here. And Astralis, again, the screws are being turned. They're taking their 3rd timeout. Their 3rd timeout here. And this is a massive chat for them to have. Right here, right now, do we force buy or do we take a save, right? On the CT side, you never want to find yourself in that position. So I feel like it has to be the force buy scenario here. And they are. They're starting to purchase on in. 5-7's coming through. Deagles, a couple of nades. They have to fight for this. But on the flip side, if Copenhagen Flames, if they're able to convert this one, if they're able to keep it very, very clean, I think that they're going to be running to 16 right now. Astralis are up against the ropes here.
Well, I mean, I want to perhaps pull on this thread now. We'll keep returning to it as it gets more and more frayed, but Astralis were very, very unhappy with their performance at the end of IEM4. Like, I mean, I remember them coming into the hotel, everyone's down in the dumps, the tweets, like, from Dupree saying, I've never felt like I've played this bad in however long, I'm paraphrasing. But that was the initial reaction to their shortcomings, and the follow-up was, of course, bringing Glaive back into the roster, perhaps just a little bit of initial disarray. Good initial damage, actually, from the double HE. And that implies some aggressive CT positions, so we will see the time start to whittle away as Copenhagen Flames do their due diligence and will clear off. Astralis hoping that that will lead them to the B site with a gamble stack.
Yeah, the gamble, I think that's where the conversation needs to begin here, right? Because Astralis is known for being very good on the gambles here, but Copenhagen Flames, it's not like they're being forced into anything. They're getting a lot of free real estate. Right now towards long, you can see here with this lovely cam that they can clear it out, see that nobody's home. And seeing nobody's home has actually drawn them back towards the B bomb site, surprisingly enough. Those bathrooms, difficult against the pistols at the best of times. Lining up some nades, and looks like they're going to test the water here through Monster.
I wonder if it's the full commit. So you see how far the bomb is in the pack. Will Yabby just have a look? Util dropped, Zipex burning, and sprayed down. Perhaps
that might lure them in.
That might pull them further into the site. Lots of opportunities. Dupree's Deagle rattling off a couple and brought very, very low. He won't be taking the next contact. Oh, maybe he will. Doesn't matter at 4 HP. All those bullets, all those bullet holes still puts a hole in the head of Zyphon.
They're committed now. They have to go B. There's no time to go back.
25. Roy's bailed him out a little bit. A very nice off angle from Magic. He doesn't even know where he's getting shots from. Another contribution. It's only Lucky's scout though, and I don't think he can contest the plant. The wall bang would be great. Doesn't quite find the mark. Very uncomfortable clutch now for Lucky.
You want to give this a crack, but if you lose this right now, as Lucky, you have nothing going into the next round to play. Astralis are going to have to take the eco. He's actually going to go for it.
There should be no way the Flames let this one slip. Yabi clearly has been outlined as the first contact on that diffused sound.
He's out of there.
And that's the end of that.
Okay, I think he just walked on in and grabbed a pistol. So now that he has a sidearm, he can drop that across to somebody in the next round of play to make things as, well, expensive as possible for Flames.
Oh, that's the end of Yabi, maybe.
Yeah, he should be going down to the bomb here. Yeah, that's going to be a death they didn't need to stomach, but regardless, it is going to be another round here for Copenhagen Flames as they trickle on up to 11. But real problems here. You can see Dupree, he's actually purchased into a Deagle. I guess Lucky didn't find too much. It could be lying on the ground right here, right now. But the game's run away from them at this point. 11-6. Copenhagen Flames know that they're up against most likely players without head armor here. 2 Deagles, a P250, and the Scout in play. Need something to get this one going, but straight in towards the B bomb site, and they haven't stacked it this time round. It's almost free.
Oh, great start. And yeah, free, probably the best word for it.
Like, at this point, I don't even know, like, you want to get exits if you're Astralis, right? But you've already lost the site here. You're coming from a place where one choke point is smoked off, the other continuously Molotoved. Like, do you want to drop back, go through Connect, and maybe go around to T-Spawn, see if you can catch them somewhere else?
You know what we perhaps could return to as well, Chad? Do you remember we were talking about trying to beat Astralis at their own game?
Yeah.
Like, there's no gimmicks here. There's no funny business, no cheese. It genuinely feels like they are going blow for blow with Astralis, 4-time major champions Astralis.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? They've had to come in here and once again, excuse us, but it can only play their own game, right? You can study the tells of Astralis as the core, as the
but
team.
Zero, yeah.
Yeah, with this exact roster, right? What are you meant to be able to decipher here? So, Copenhagen Flames just looking well prepped. They've had a game plan that has clearly outplayed Astralis to this point. But if we're ever going to change that tune, this is where Astralis on the CT side need to start locking things down. And we've already seen some shaky aim from, admittedly, both sides of the server here, but this is where it heats up. Round 19, guns are out.
Yeah, one person that hasn't had shaky aim is Dupree. So we'll see if his aggressions can be as rewarded as Roy's were. He's had a glance, he's considered it, and perhaps going to be flashed in again a little late. As the molly fades in playground, that's when Dupree at least has another cursory glance. Doesn't look to commit. Confirms it's clear and the rejig of the CT space now.
Now, there's a lot of utility left over here for Copenhagen Flames. They've been able to quietly take control of this sewer position here, using that smoke to their aid. YouTube coming on out isn't going to force them anywhere.
It's perfect for the Astralis stack nades that perhaps could have been wielded there.
That's still 3 towards this B site. 2 players quite passively for Astralis towards that top of A. And they're just walking on in. They just want fights.
Yeah, well, I don't blame them. You can see they've got the 2 smokes in React. In fact, dropping that out does indicate a Barrels player. Oh, and that's the fight they were waiting for. Magisk, they suspect another. They know where Zip is. They know he lives in the Barrels. Lucky's under scrutiny. He's gone too, nearly all onto Dupree. He could have gone down in that spray too if he's not careful. He's stuck around. He's going for something aggressive. Hooksy trying to be the hero. That's the bomb delivered, and the flash is converted. Oh. Nikados strings together 2, where it should only ever have been 1.
He's having a game. Having more than a game here.
What
That's
a
the bomb
follow-up,
going down.
Chad.
Zip's been in some clutch situations here, but this one looking very unlikely. Nade shy.
There's no way. Nikados is going to get a little hungry for that one. Wants some info. Gets a bullet between the eyes. Any more for Zip? Loud about it. Playing the timings. Yabi to swing off contact or sound. There they are. Double peak. Oh. Countdown. 1, 2, 3, and 13 secured.
That was fantastic from Zip to even get a kill there, but even better from Copenhagen Flames, the way that they dealt with that situation. And again, they're not afraid to take fights. Now, we don't have to go that far into recent history to talk about what happens when you're too passive in a clutch situation. So here, the initiative again. coming out massively. And this is a freebie. The bomb gets spotted. Hooksy doing the classic in-game leader play, taking the space, getting that info.
That follow-up, man, that was round winning.
This is great. Yabi even got that opening kill as they pushed up Sandbag, right? So Astralis back down to the pistols. Panic stations now. This is not looking good whatsoever. Great for the Flames here.
Yeah. I mean, he's pushed up. It's threatening. And that is two. Yabi's swallowed 2 Deagle bullets. He's lived to tell the tale. Can Glaive cancel play?
I think the thing is, with his position right now, sure, there is an opportunity to catch someone sleeping and...
That's it!
But he should be dead. Like, right now... Oh, Roy hasn't pushed. Roy didn't go for the frag.
He should now. He knows he's confirmed that Glaive hasn't retreated just yet, and he is just crawling it back. Xiphon will secure it, so... Initial threat neutralized, and let's check that clock. You've still got 60 seconds, so no sweat on the brow just yet. They've actually interestingly gone for this triple boost.
Yeah, now, look, this is the type of round that could unravel for the Flames. They have 2 players very, very low. Xiphon and Yabi, 1 bullet away from death. Now, it's going to come down to Roy and Hooksy, and speaking of Roy, there he is. Lucky's gone, number advantage, back in the favor of the Flames here.
And it dismantles the boost, so the potency of that completely gone. They have to acknowledge the potential that they can tuck into some tight corners and still be threatening in this round. Astralis, this half by Kevlar and Desert Eagles, still definitely on trend.
There's so many nades for this as well here. Copenhagen Flames can molly the site. They could smoke off towards Bank, smoke towards CT. There's flashes to boot.
The clock is sketching me out a little, and combine that with a Magisk opener. Great molly. Zip will have to take a fight here on long, and if he could just have found the third, Roy lives on. Still a threat is Magisk, just distracted long enough to go down. Dupree's flank is wrapped up, and call it 14, Chad. These boys have come in absolutely, and pardon the pun, on fire.
Yeah, this is great. Like, this is really good. And look at Roy's at the top of the scoreboard. Nikodo's coming in second place with 19 kills, but everybody's had their moments. Hooksy with 16, Yabi with 13. Sure, Xiphon only has 10 kills, but everybody's had their moments here for Copenhagen Flames. Their game plan, right? You've got players at the top of the scoreboard here, but the way that they've approached this has been fantastic. Nobody's put a foot out of line. Everybody here just making sure that they're playing these situations well. And the last timeout called for Astralis.
That's it, yeah. I mean, you're up against the ropes right now. You're battered, you're bloody. Your coach is just shaking his head. He doesn't even know what to say at this point. He's like, a good go kill.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's the CT side here. So this is where the individuals need to start stepping up with multi-kills, right? One and done is not enough in these type of environments here, especially the way Copenhagen Flames are playing right now. Timeout is over. There'll be no more chiming in from Zonic here. And away we go.
Well, as he furrows his brow and zips his lip, let's see if the Copenhagen Flames can really finish this off with style. You know, often teams newer to the scene, newer to this level of play, it can be hard when you're staring down the barrel of the upset win. You know, you're at 14, maybe even 15. And then as the reality check starts to arrive, you start second-guessing yourself and your play. It can be difficult to close out, especially in the less experienced.
Look at this aggression, though. Yabi should have this every day of the week.
Yeah, but in the off angle, okay, he's got time to adjust. Glaive has kind of fluffed his lines a little there, and a chance for Yabi to reposition. He knows he's
spotted 2.
Got the info onto the monster aggression as well, and he's actually found him. What a fragger is Yabi. If he gets away with this, he's thrown out the smoke to retreat. Glaive confirms his presence. And they're going to go knocking on long. If Dupree goes down, this gets super awkward super fast. He has an AWP to support.
Oh, he's not even looking!
Look, what's Lucky looking at? Caught in the open, absolutely pantsed. And now, well, they can re-aggress anywhere they fancy. The fact that Glaive is stuck around is a bit of an element of surprise.
Bogdan's Law, Yabi's got that AWP, and they're actually going back over towards the A bomb site here now. Glaive might hear a couple of those footsteps as they try and scamper away. It is going to be on Dupree.
Wow, that's
easy as you like.
Brilliantly.
They're all playing for info, but every time they play for info, they're getting owned.
Into crosshairs.
They are getting owned right now.
I don't hear you say that often. Okay, Magisk, can you bail Astralis out of trouble? Last time out, and already another frag. That was the one he needed. The multis you were asking for yet to be delivered here by the Astralis individuals.
He's heard him. He's heard him. They know exactly where he is.
This has to be 15. And look at the plant. Planting bankside safe. There's no threat. The after plant can be played from T-steps, or rather CT side. And yeah, Nikodos will collect.
Easy as you like.
Doesn't get better than that.
This is wild. Like, Astralis aren't in the server right now. I can see the names, but Copenhagen Flames are outplaying them across the board here. Across the board. This is not the way I expected this to go off. Look, I understand we're talking about, the first game, best of ones, all those bits and bobs that are going to be thrown around here as reasons why Copenhagen Flames have come on in here and won. But this is a 15-6 scoreline right now.
Yeah.
This hasn't been close.
0 head-to-head as well. So many. You've got the map that Astralis are playing Flames on right now. They have a 9-map win streak on.
Let's make it 10, shall we?
Might have to. Their debut game up against domestic rivals, I mean, it's juicy. It's so juicy. And for all of you Pick'em fans, don't think I didn't see your tweets. I saw a lot of Flames in that 0-3 box. I did. And they could very well flip that script right here, right now.
And look at this, right? Everybody knows. In the last round of a game, when you're sitting on 15, the other team, they tend to get desperate. They tend to take some risks. Well, Astralis have already been taking risks. So the safety net of the default from Copenhagen Flames is spread out. Here's a boost. Ooh. And there's the kill. So an opening this time for Astralis. That's a bit of change of tune. There's just so much searching from the CTs here. It's like Astralis are never comfortable when they don't have any info, and they're always looking on the other side of this. Glaive, so many players around him. Every side, Glaive is pinned. He is pinned on in.
That should be Lucky's. And it is. So a 2-man opening kill advantage. Astralis set for a 7th. It's up to Yabi to try and flip the script. You're talking about Glaive being hunted. Well, that's the solution. That's the resolution.
They have to finish B here. 30. Well, they're into B.
Yeah.
He's only got an MP9.
This is just falling apart. Absolutely dilapidated. Lucky doesn't finish his meal on neither of them. Yabi and Zyphon are bleeding, but that doesn't stop him. He strings together 2, and that is surely it. Zip to clutch. They are low. Very vulnerable to the MP9. Yabi's having none of it. Copenhagen Flames, game 1, day 1, already taking the biggest scalp, walking up to the big dog and knocking him down. Astralis, how many was that? 6, 7?
6 rounds.
6
That's
rounds.
all they got. 6 rounds in total, right? And they won the pistol on the T side.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just got absolutely demolished.
Maybe owned or maybe even pwned. We might have to put a P in there.
Go back that far.
Let's put a P in it.
See how many people know I made FPS Doug,
Yeah.
Boom headshot, because there's plenty of that coming out of the boys right there. Look, Roy obviously stand out. Nikodos as well. He was very aggressive across the board. These are the